Hi, I have a meeting with Emery Fung. Ran. Oh yeah. This is a shared office.
How are you?
Emery, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Great.
Just give me 2 seconds and I'm just gonna get my stuff and then.
Sure.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw. Look at that photo. Okay. Look at that photo. Okay, first of all, great photo of you. Okay, it looks like it's made by your web camera.
Wow, you really know your camera, don't you?
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, well, it's also the perspective. So you're sitting in front of a mic. You're wearing a nice navy blue polo shirt. You're sitting, I'm assuming, in your room.
Yeah.
You've got earphones in your ears. You're smiling at the camera. You got the mic in front of your face. On the wall, there's a red jersey with a number 9, red and white.
Arsenal.
Okay, nice, very nice. And then you've got is that your illustration of the
podcast?
turtle?
Yeah, of the podcast that I have.
So you have a podcast.
Yes, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So this is a shot of you doing
Okay. Basically being you.
Okay, promote it, man. What is this?
Yeah, so I've got a podcast called Awkward Turtle at Work.
Okay, hold on. You have to articulate, and the link is going to be in the show notes. But what is it again?
Yeah, so it's called Awkward Turtle at Work.
Okay.
And the reason why it came, or how I was inspired by it, really, I think a lot of people might be able to relate to this. That it was COVID, so I wanted to do something that was slightly different.
Yep.
I had a lot of time on my hand, and it was also a time where I was really not happy with where I was working.
Okay.
But I've always loved working. I've always worked. I started working when I was quite young, part-time, 14, 15. So I always kind of like the idea of going to work and stuff like that. So it's not like I just don't enjoy kind of work in general. But it was something about the job or I guess with COVID and things, it was a sales job as well. So a lot of, I guess your mental health or the way you see things would always be associated to your revenue number.
Dude, I understand.
And it just was not healthy.
I hear you.
Yeah. So that was like, okay, so why is that? And I want to kind of explore, what are the other options out there?
Now, because your accent is very strong, you said like a very strong French accent.
No, UK, yeah.
I'm just kidding. It's being stupid. Okay, so, and it's awkward.
Awkward turtle.
Awkward turtle.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a Canadian.
Yeah.
Awkward turtle. Okay, awkward turtle. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
And
going.
Basically, so I do recruitment as my day job.
Oh.
And basically what I do day in, day out is hearing stories of why people don't like their job.
Okay.
Why they want to leave.
Right.
Why they think they want to leave.
Okay.
They want a better title, better salary, whatever it may be. But ultimately, if you really ask more questions and dig a bit deeper, it's because they're just not satisfied with what they think the role, or it's just not what they want. But they think they want a bigger title or bigger salary.
Right.
And so I kind of had that in the back of my mind, and me going through kind of, I guess, a similar thing of not being happy in my work. So I went out there and interviewed a bunch of people who took different career paths, who typically left like a corporate job to do something quite different, quite left field, quite exciting, or something just people that don't really think about, to figure out, why they make that jump. And how's that been so far? Is it as good as exciting as it sounds? Or is it a different world? And so that was kind of my start of like, I guess, putting myself out there, doing podcasts, learning all sort of skill sets from it as well.
How many, so it's still going on?
At the moment, I've not recording for a while, because I'm starting, kind of other projects in the moment, but I will be resuming in about a month or two. So I think maybe, depends on when this comes out, maybe it'll be back up and running.
Oh, awesome.
By that time, yeah.
Fantastic. And your guests tend to be in Hong Kong?
Tend to be, but I haven't limited. So I've done virtual as well, all over the world, yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about recruitment. Like as a role, as a job, as a thing. Sure enough, you're sitting there listening to people's stories, people coming to you because something changed and something happened and they want to change or because they have to change. Like either because they lost their work or because they're there and they're just frustrated and they want to.
Yeah.
How much of that role is you listening to people whining and complaining versus being like a counselor.
Yeah.
So like talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's my personal view on kind of what that is. I don't know if every other recruiter feels the same way. Kind of when people, so the classic thing that we always ask about when people come for interview as a candidate, what's your experience? What were you doing in your last role? And the biggest thing that we always ask for is real reason for leaving.
Right.
That usually gives us a lot of information about, their motivation to move. Is that candidate, for example, is just searching around, browsing, or are they really serious about getting a new job, or how urgent it is? So then we know how do we kind of respond to that and react to that, essentially. And I've always found that really interesting because what I've done or what I've encountered before is that, let's say I've met someone brand new and then they said, yes, I want to move for a bigger title, for a bigger salary. And then they ultimately moved, and I'll meet them again a year later, and they say the same thing again.
They're still miserable. Yeah.
And then the same thing and same thing again.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, maybe it's really not about the money or the title then, maybe it's about something else. So I've always found that part of the job quite interesting.
Okay.
And apart from the candidate side, we also hear from the client side
of
why people leave.
Yeah.
The manager always be like, oh, they're just not good enough, they're too lazy or whatever it may be, but it might be because the culture of the company or whatever it may be. So I've always found that's kind of, I guess, a soft side or the mental side or kind of the culture side of the role really interesting.
So what did you study in university?
I did sports management.
What management?
Sports management.
Of course, sports
management.
Yeah,
my parents told me you'll never get a job in Hong Kong. I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and do this degree. I'm gonna find something to do. They were right. I couldn't find anything. I mean, there was, but it wasn't anything that I found exciting. It was maybe a lot more kind of back end and admin kind of role.
So what was the first when you first found yourself in recruitment? What brought you to that?
It was probably the most randomest thing, but which I've now come to learn most people who work in recruitment also kind of somehow fall into it. So I came back to Hong Kong, finished studying, got my degree, and then came back and then just job hunting. Sports management was on my mind, but again, I spent maybe 2 months and then it wasn't really going anywhere. And then a friend of a friend who was working at the company that I ended up working at said, I mean, you're quite good with people. You quite like talking to people, chatting to people and meeting people. Have you thought about doing a role like recruitment?
Right.
Did not know what it was, have no idea what it meant. And I worked as a part-time that belonged to a recruitment agency. So I had an idea of what that meant, but I don't know what it was like to be on the other side.
Right.
So I just went in, did a bit of research, and I was like, I'll give it a go. And the first couple of interviews, I think the hiring manager kept questioning me on why we should hire you.
Yeah.
You've done nothing like this before. And something about me was just like, the more you tell me I can't do it, the more I'm going to be like, I want to do it.
Got it.
So really that was kind of the trigger point of me really going for recruitment. So I've been in recruitment and still am, been about 8 years now.
Okay. What was the most sort of, if I say to you, just a memory of something that was really like, hey, this is just bonkers. This is just a weird story. This is just like, because recruitment, so one of the, being in Hong Kong, which moves and changes so much, I've brushed with some founders of big companies, some of them recruitment companies. And one of the guys is, he came to Hong Kong with $500 in his sock. He ended up starting a recruitment company, and then he ended up having the penthouse of the Princess Building.
Wow.
So, right? So, do you have a story that is just, that if somebody not from Hong Kong would be like, now that's pretty insane?
I mean, for me, it was kind of a really good entry 101 back into the Hong Kong kind of city. Because bear in mind, I obviously was born here, but I never really lived here properly for a long period of time. I don't really know what goes on here. So it was actually quite a nice way to be like, okay, this is what the industries, these are the top companies in this industries. This is what a HR looks like. This is what a marketing department looks like. So it was a really eye-opening thing for me to be in Hong Kong. But I guess a funny thing from my perspective was that when I first came back, got a job, started going to client meetings and stuff, and looking like Chinese, and I speak Cantonese fluently, and obviously, but I didn't know where any of the buildings were.
Right.
My parents live in Ma'anshan, so I've never been to Central until I was maybe like 17 to 18.
Nice.
Never saw the tram in Causeway Bay until I was an adult. So I found everything to be just like, what is this?
Yeah.
And then I was going to a meeting, and then they were like, the colleague was like, oh yeah, I'll meet you by HSBC in Central. And I was like, I have no idea what that is. And then they were like, what do you mean? Like, you're from here, right? So it was like a really, I guess, a funny way to be back in Hong Kong and kind of navigating my way around kind of what Hong Kong looks like and, how to get to places and going to all these fancy offices.
Oh, for sure.
In Central. And the industry I first started kind of specializing was very much the law firms, the finances, services, the iBanks.
Yeah.
So seeing those offices in the heart of Hong Kong was like just mind blowing.
For sure.
And it's really like what you see in movies sometimes.
Yeah. Exactly. Like how I can connect to that is that I'd go into these law firms in the IFC on the whatever,
65th floor. Whatever,
and you look out the window and you're just like, first of all, you're 600 or whatever it is, like however 100 meters up in the air, looking over this incredible harbor with and you're just like, how did I get here?
Exactly.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Okay, so let's go back to the photo. You have this big, beautiful smile. What prompted you to make? Because it looks genuine. So it looks like a genuine, candid shot. So, but did you stage it to photograph yourself?
I think I was about to do an interview, and I think I was just prepping, and then I was asked to send them a photo of me doing a podcast, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just put something. I'll just put the camera on, and then just took a few shots.
Okay,
and then that was that.
Nice. It looks like it's great. Why turtles? What's with the turtle?
I don't know. So it's like more of a personal thing.
Clearly.
So turtle, really, I really resonate with turtle.
Okay.
A really weird thing of mine. I think I've always been told that I'm a bit more mature than my age.
Okay.
And I just love how they're just so chilled.
Okay.
Like, they just look like they know everything.
You're a bit of a weirdo, man. Like,
I am.
So the thing is, as I'm looking at this photo, just to describe it more to the listener, it's like, you're in a kind of the lighting of the room suggests that there's like a nice large window on your left. And so it's diffused light coming in. It's all whites and there's slight geometric. The only color really is the red jersey on the wall and then your blue shirt. And behind is this, it looks like a color pencil or marker of this turtle kind of like looking at the camera with a smile on its back, just kind of, okay, so let's if everything's a symbol, right? How is this symbolic? Like somebody who's going to decode this like symbolic creation.
I think what you said earlier is not much going on there. It's simple. I'm one of those people who cleans up my flat every year.
Okay.
Actually, maybe every 6 months, I like to just go around and be like, have not used this for a while, chuck it out, or like get rid of it. So most things I'm just quite minimalistic, simple, not too flashy. And just little simple things that, my flat is pretty boring, I guess. Now I'm kind of picturing my flat. Yeah, you're right. It's all white, and there's not much decoration, and it's just my bed.
Minimalist. It's minimalist. You don't live in a prison. Like it's obviously. What floor do you live on?
19.
There, you see, that's a Hong Kong thing. Like when you tell people, like when my wife and I moved to Hong Kong, our second apartment was on the 51st floor.
Wow, yeah.
Which is like,
insane for a lot of people, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like 51st floor.
Do you know what? This is the highest floor I've lived in. Oh. My parents, they've lived in the second floor.
Okay.
Moved once, lived on the fourth floor.
Okay.
So this is like the longest. Now I'm like getting used to the elevator, the lift going taking longer than 3 seconds to get out.
Got it. Okay. Emery, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen, and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes, shooting it raw.